Conservative New Media viewers, JLin fans around the world, what's up? It's me, PFE, Paul F. Villarreal, the NBA expert. We're here to discuss Brooklyn's 107-106 victory today over the Chicago Bulls in Brooklyn, New York. Woo! Great win. This was a huge win, and it was so good because the Nets had to come back late in this game to get the win. And it looked like this was the final home game of the season for Brooklyn. It was a sold-out arena. The fans were into it, and it looked like everybody was going to go home unhappy and sad, and this was their last memory of the team for the season. But what happened in this game was Brooklyn outplayed the Bulls in the fourth quarter. They outscored them 32-24 in the final quarter. And that erased a 7-point Chicago lead, I believe it was, going into the fourth. And the guys that were great down the stretch of this game were Caris LeVert, Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, and Spencer Dinwiddie. And all credit to them. Those guys are all very young players. They've gone through growing pains this year, and there's times where there's still things they need to work on and so forth. But they were gigantic down the stretch of this game. And Brooklyn didn't win this game. They didn't come back until really, really late in the game. Like, they made a very late run, like with just a couple minutes left. A huge run, and that's how they got the win. And during that run, LeVert and Hollis-Jefferson really took over, and then Spencer Dinwiddie finished it off at the very end. Jeremy had a couple nice assists in that stretch to help seal the deal, and this is the way you want to end your home season. And it was just fantastic. Really happy for the players and happy for the organization and for the fans. The fans deserved this, and they got what they came to see. Let's go over the statistics. Spencer Dinwiddie was huge in this game. Came off the bench, 26 minutes played, 19 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists, and only 1 turnover. Coming into this game, Dinwiddie in his last 7 games played, I think, had 22 assists and only 7 turnovers. 3-to-1 ratio. Even better than that. And that continues today. Like I've said this, I said in the last video, and I've said it repeatedly. This guy's one of the best stories of the season for Brooklyn. There's no question about it. This guy can really play. He can score. He can distribute with low turnover rates. And he can defend, and he's big. The reason why they kept him, and we've talked about this before, the reason why they kept him over Yogi Ferrell was because Spencer's big. He's like legitimately 6'4", 6'5". And that helped down the stretch of this game, as I think he was given the defensive assignment a couple times on Jimmy Butler, and needless to say, Yogi Ferrell isn't guarding Jimmy Butler because he's too small. But Spencer Dinwiddie has the size to be able to do it. He is, like I said, of course, the Nets do need to upgrade their talent. I mean, I like the talent on this roster, but sure, you want to get better. But if Spencer Dinwiddie is your backup point guard going into a season based upon how he's played this year, you're in pretty decent shape. And nobody would have thought that at the beginning of this year. So all credit to Spencer Dinwiddie and to the Nets coaching staff for getting this guy really improved. And like I said, I'm happy for the team, and I'm happy for him personally, because remember, this guy was a D-League call-up. But he's only 23 years old. He's young. He can play, and he can develop and be even better and better. And I'll tell you right now, having him as Jeremy's backup looking pretty darn good right now, and especially after this game. 19 points for him, 9 points, 4 rebounds for Trevor Booker. Archie Goodwin, 6 points, 1 rebound. KJ McDaniels, 6 points, 3 rebounds. Isaiah Whitehead, 4 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Turning to the starters, Randy Foye did not score in this game. He only played 12 minutes. So Randy's kind of starting right now, but he's not playing a lot. And that makes sense, again, as the team is evaluating players a lot. Randy is a veteran. They know everything about him. They don't need to look at him. So they're looking at other players. Karis LeVert, 19 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. He was terrific down the stretch of this game. Hit a couple of huge three-point shots. This guy is so talented, and this is only the beginning. I just hope he stays healthy. I know he's had the foot issues, and same with Spencer Dinwiddie. Karis LeVert, I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and say that he's going to be a star in the league, but he is he's talented, he's mentally tough, he's competitive, he's athletic, he can play. Remember, he didn't play until like halfway through the season or something like that because of his foot injury. Now this guy looks like a lottery pick and a high lottery pick. So this is really, really good to see. Rondae Hollis-Jefferson, 16 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists. Again, gigantic down the stretch of this game. Look, I and many of you guys have felt about Rondae this season. Is this guy really a starter? Should he really be playing as a starter? Does he have enough skill? Is he good enough? Well, he showed a ton today. He has the killer instinct. He was he might have been the most important player in the comeback. He and Karis LeVert, for sure, those two. And it might have been Rondae more than anybody else. So heart and will matters a huge amount. Skill matters too, of course, but you have to have the heart and the mind. And Rondae showed everything today. And this was one of the best performances by him all season, without question, given all the circumstances and how he had to kind of generate the comeback almost by himself. Brook Lopez, 13 points, 4 rebounds. JLin, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Jeremy played 29 minutes, shot 4 of 14 from the field, including 2 of 4 from three-point range. 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 3 steals, no block shots, 2 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. Plus minus was a plus 15. Look, I'm going to tell you the truth here. I did not like the way that Jeremy played in a lot of the second half of this game, and I'll talk about that more in a second. I don't want to get too hard on him, though, and we don't want to get too down in what's a big win. It's just growing pains. There's certain things and there's a certain mindset Jeremy has, which is really good, which is, hey, I'm the best guy, I'm going to score, and I'm going to make things happen. But there's sometimes where you have to back off of it a little bit and use your teammates. If you're not getting shots, if you're not making shots and you're not getting foul calls, use your teammates. Pass the ball. Now, that being said, Jeremy had 7 assists, which led the team. He only had 2 turnovers, so the assist to turnovers are better than 3-1. He had 3 steals, so he's playing good defense. He had a couple of huge passes down the stretch of this game, and so I don't want to just bury it. But remember, I'm focused on Jeremy. I'm much more focused on Jeremy than I am on anybody else on the team, even though, of course, I'm watching the entire team. So that means the good is magnified when he plays well, and the bad is magnified when he plays well because my attention is on Jeremy. In a nutshell, and I mentioned it a second ago, Jeremy played a little too fast, and he was looking to shoot a little too much, particularly given that he wasn't making shots in the second half of this game. And so he was trying to force things a little bit too much. And sometimes you have to back off of hero mode and just move the ball and pass the ball, particularly when your teammates are taller and more explosive. In other words, you might have to shoot a layup against a guy who's 5 inches taller who can block your shot, like Niko Mirotic did against Jeremy late in this game. Well, If you pass the ball to Rodney Hollis-Jefferson, he might be able to dunk the ball over Nico Mirotic. So you have to understand the situation. And I don't think this was Jeremy's best game in that regard. But like I said, so what? I mean, you only figure that out by playing. And it's much easier to watch a game and pick out things than it is to play a game. Even the angle that the cameras are at, the angle that the camera is at is much higher up on the court. It is a whole different thing when you are on the court at ground level than it is to watch a game from up above. Because when you watch it up above, you can see everything. When you're playing it, you can't see everything, particularly when you're not one of the tallest players on the court. It's a much different thing. I remember Larry Bird, of course, the great Larry Bird, saying, because Larry was legitimately about 6'9" tall in his bare feet. And he's like, when you get to 6'9" or 6'8", it's a whole different game because you can see the whole court. You're taller than most of the other players. It's just like I said, I don't want to be too hard on Jeremy. I don't want to take away from this win. It's just, and it is a good trait in Jeremy that he wants to dominate. But you have to know when to scale it back. You have to know when to slow it down. What was happening for Jeremy in this game, and I alluded to it a moment ago, he was having a difficult time at certain moments getting his shot off. What I mean by that is shooting the ball without getting it blocked and not altering your shot. Like sometimes you can have your shot altered even though you didn't get it blocked. And so you miss a shot that you would normally make. And so you have to work with that. You have to work with who you are as a player. And again, for Jeremy, that means make sure you're getting open shots, finish at the rim, and so forth. And what happened late in this game, when LeVert and Hollis-Jefferson took over. If you're watching this game, particularly Hollis-Jefferson, if you're watching this game and you're a JLin fan, you were probably thinking to yourself, you know what? Rondé's not passing the ball to Jeremy that much. After Rondé's getting rebounds, and rather than passing it to Jeremy, he's taking the ball up the court himself. And I'm telling you right now, part of that is because of what I just said. Not because Rondé doesn't like Jeremy or anything like that, but it's because, look, Jeremy's having a little bit of a tough time with this, and he's forcing a little bit. So, okay, we're going to work around that. It's not a mean thing. It's not that they don't want Jeremy to have the ball. Everybody on this team likes Jeremy and respects Jeremy. But as I said, if you're the point guard and you run the team, you have to lead. You have to set the example. Or you have to check yourself so that other people follow your example rather than other people have to intervene and stop you from possibly playing the wrong way. And I'll give you a perfect example of this. Coach Atkinson, I know it sounds like I'm being really harsh and a buzzkill, but no. Coach Atkinson has said early in this season, and actually said it, he might have said it before this game. I just saw remarks from him, and I don't know when he said it. But he said that he wants Jeremy to play point guard a little bit more, as compared with shooting guard and your shooting shots. Which, pass the ball, particularly if you're having kind of a difficult time getting your own shot off. Pass the ball to guys who might not have as much difficulty getting their shot off. And that's it. Like I said, I don't want to go on a crazy rant. This is this is a repetitive issue for Jeremy. He has had this issue before. And like I said, if he wasn't stubborn, though, he wouldn't be in the NBA. Because of his stubbornness and his will, that's why he's in the NBA, and that's why Linsanity happened, and that's why he's the player that he has become. However, there are times where you need to dial it back. And I thought that in the second half of this game and late in the first half, Jeremy could have dialed it back a little bit more. So I just want to say that that's what it is. I'm not trying to be harsh on Jeremy. It's an honest assessment of how he plays. And one of the few things that he needs to kind of work at. Look, it's frustrating. I don't know if you've played basketball much and you're not the most athletic guy in the world. If you play against guys, and Jeremy's athletic, but he's not explosive. He's not a super jumper. And that's where this getting your shot off stuff and getting blocked and stuff comes in. If you play against guys that are really athletic, it's frustrating. Okay? It's really frustrating. If you can't move and you can't get your shot off without getting blocked, let me tell you, it gets frustrating. I know this. I've played a lot. I was athletic. I was very athletic, actually. Still, I've been in situations in street ball games and you know, playing on the beaches in California where you're playing against guys who are just freak athletes, and it changes how you play because you can't do things that you want to do and that you're used to being able to do. So then you have to alter your game, and that's what Jeremy's dealing with, and it's something he's been dealing with his entire career. How do I work within my physical characteristics and be successful? And how do I work with my physical characteristics and dominate? Because Jeremy wants to dominate. He wants to be the man. He wants to be the guy. And so you have to figure out how to do that. And that's where the skill training and the one-on-one perimeter moves and the dribbling practice and everything comes in. You have to, it's like solving a difficult mathematical equation. You have to figure out how to do that. And that's what Jeremy's working on. And before you solve the equation, you're going to go through a bunch of failed solutions. So tonight, or today, was kind of like that for Jeremy. So I'm not mad. I'm not down. I'm not bitter. I'm not depressed. It's like, no, okay, this is what happens. As good as Jeremy is, he's still developing. Now, he's much more skilled than most of the players on the roster because they're much younger than he is, and he's much more experienced. He's still working. It's going to take time. And he's working to figure it out, and that's where he's at, and that's what happened in today's game. And thankfully, his teammates picked him up, and they recognize stuff. There's plenty of times where Jeremy recognizes in his teammates they need help, and I've got to do it. And tonight, I think a little bit of the reverse happened, and I'm happy because the better teammates you get, the easier it is. Now, LeBron James is a great player, but he's a lot better when he plays with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh than he is playing with Mo Williams and somebody else. Somebody in Cleveland before who wasn't very good. The better your teammates are, the better it is for you and the better you look. So in that regard, it will definitely help the Nets as they get more talent. And there are already reports out there of certain players, the names I've seen are Otto Porter of the Wizards, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope of the Pistons, that the Nets are going to target in restricted free agency. Now, they weren't successful in that this past season when they went after Alan Crabb and Tyler Johnson, but maybe it'll be different this upcoming summer. We do want more talent, but you just got to like this team. This team it's like a motley crew of rejects or something. These are young guys and guys nobody wanted, and they've come together. They're good guys. They figured it out, and they're playing much better now. I want to say they're like 11-11 now since March 1st. I've got to confirm that, but this team can play. Let me tell you, this was a very important game for the Bulls. They needed this game because they're trying to make the playoffs. This was a huge loss for them. And, they weren't ready for the Nets to be this good. So this was a very very impressive victory by the Nets. Like I said everything I'm going to say on Jeremy in terms of, the downbeat or whatever. He still played well. He still had some very critical plays down the stretch of this game. And we must remember he's still growing as a player. And it's important to remember that. Even though Jeremy's 28 years old and he's in his, whatever, 6th year in the league, whatever it is, he's never... This is the first situation where he's really been able to do his thing, where he's the man, he's the starter. He's not playing with James Harden, who's going to dominate the ball and yell at him if he does something Harden doesn't like. So Jeremy's still growing. He's still, he changed his three-point shot. He's still improving. And this is one of the reasons why I think Jeremy can play well into his 30s. Because he works so hard and he always improves. I mean, he comes back every year and he's better. And that is not the case for many players in the NBA, except for a lot of the very, very top level players. So, yeah, sure. When Jeremy gets 32, 33, maybe he'll start losing some of his quickness and different things, but he's not going to lose his shooting touch. The shooting should only get better. He's not going to lose his understanding of the game. That's only going to get better. Like I said, I always mention Steve Nash, but there are other players, Jason Kidd. If you understand how to play the game, Jason Kidd wasn't the most athletic guy in the world, but he knew how to play, and he figured out how to work with what he had. And that was good enough for him to be in the Hall of Fame. I can't remember if he's in now or he will be soon, for sure. So, this was just great. Like I said, it's great for Jeremy to have teammates who can help him out and carry the load when it's not Jeremy's best game, but they also respect him and they also like him rather than, in other places where that wasn't the case. Jeremy's still the man here. He's still the leader along with Brooke, but he's allowed to grow and have growing pains just like everybody else is. And so that's pretty much it. I've talked a whole bunch here, and I've gone on a long discussion. I'll just skip the notes and everything today. I already said most of what I wanted to say. This was one of the best wins of the season. The Nets, I believe, are now 7-4 in the last 11 games. They are now 4-1 in the month of April, and they have clinched a winning April, which is, I believe, the first winning month of the season for them. And look, it's all positive. This was a great victory. And there's 2 more games left. They're both on the road. Hopefully we can get wins there, but the worst the Nets can be is 4-3 in the month of April. Also, I believe this game is on NBA TV. So that's cool because the whole nation got to see this. And the Nets have very rarely been on national TV this season here in the United States. Maybe, 3 or 4 times maximum. So the larger NBA fan base got to see how much the Nets have improved and that this is a real team and a real franchise now. And it cannot be overstated. The Nets have grown and improved so much in this year. They've essentially overhauled their franchise and their franchise culture all in 1 year. Remember, just how bad things were early in this season, but now they're cool. Now, there's still work to be done, and they do want to improve the talent level. This is a competent, solid team now. I think this team can realistically, right now with this roster, if you started the season off, this team can win 35 games. Now, you want them to win more than that, but this is a real team now. This is not a joke. This is legit. And the guys are growing in confidence. They are growing in chemistry. Coach has learned a tremendous amount of this season. He's also developing as a rookie coach. I think GM Sean Marks has done a great job, and things are looking bright. The future is bright for this team, and the future is bright for Jeremy. Like I said, don't mistake my critique of Jeremy. It's just like I said, it's looking at it and being realistic and understanding how does it get even to the next level and the level after that. And that's what you do. That's how it works. And that's what Jeremy's figuring out, and despite all of that and my stuff, he still had 12.6 rebounds and 7 assists in this game. So if that's his bad game, that's pretty good. And that's a very promising sign. So that's about it. Rant over. That was my 22-minute intro, so to speak. But I just had to get that off my chest. I just wanted to say that stuff. So let's talk about the next game coming up. That game will take place 2 days from now, Monday, April 10th. It will be in Boston, Massachusetts, which is, of course, Jeremy's old stomping grounds at Harvard University. And it will take place at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, I want to say it'll be a very important game for Boston Celtics because they're trying to clinch their playoff position. They need to win games, so it's going to be a tough game. I believe the game is on Yes Network, but there's a chance that it's on Yes 2. Now that the Yankees have begun playing in the regular season, sometimes the Yankees will be on Yes Network, and that means the Nets end up playing on Yes 2. So just check your local listings if you have Yes Network and you're in and around the city of New York. That's where it's at. If not, if you're not in New York and you're not in Boston, then hopefully you will be able to catch the game on NBA League Pass. So terrific win today. Jeremy did play well when he had to down the stretch. The young guys really came through big in this game, and I'm just really, really happy for Hollis-Jefferson, Dinwiddie, and Karis LeVert. This is a game that means a lot for guys like them. Now, they can compete. They can get it done in the stretch of the game. They are good enough. And it's just going to boost their confidence tremendously, and that's going to help them so much going into next season and into the summer. You can end the season feeling good. It makes you feel you really want to work hard in the summer to improve your game, and this is great. I mean, things are ending on such a high note for this team. Like I said, none of this looked possible before March 1st. It really didn't. And now everything's changed completely. And that's going to... Free agents around the league and their agents are going to take notice of this. And they're going to tell their clients, look, man, you get to play in the New York market. This is a good team with good guys on it. You're going to... Coach Atkinson's really good at developing players. Why don't you think about playing for the Nets? And that has not been the case in recent seasons. It really hasn't been. And nothing against former Nets and or anything like that. But just talking to you about the common perception around the league was, you don't want to play for Brooklyn. Brooklyn's not good. The franchise sucks. They don't know what they're doing. It's a black hole. Now it's completely the opposite of that. And that is going to help a lot in recruiting talent to this team. So that is it for today. I hope you're having a great night or great day wherever you are around the world when you watch this video. Take care. We will talk to you again little over 48 hours from now. But this was a terrific win. Definitely want to watch it if you didn't get to catch it live. Try to see NBA replay or whatever there is out there. It was really worth it down the stretch of this game to watch how this team played in the last 5 or 6 minutes of the game. And it's just great. Like I said, everything came together for the fans and for the team, and I'm just really happy for everybody. So take care. We will talk to you again 2 days from now. See you then as the Brooklyn Nets travel to Boston, Massachusetts, where they will play